Hey everyone. As you've joined us for this webinar, I am going to assume you are a highly motivated individual who does not want to settle with a 9 to 5 and wants to understand how to become wealthy in the theatre business. Kudos to you. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, and I want to get straight to the point and review with you one of the most profitable and underrated industries to be a part of. What industry am I referring to? That is the musical theatre industry. Broadway is making box office numbers with more than 1 billion box office receipts last year. That's right, you heard correct, 1 billion. Today, I want to share with you an opportunity of a lifetime to enter into this billion-dollar industry and capitalise on all of the money being made. Right now, one of London's most innovative new play production companies, the Mostly Musicals production company, is looking for top talent to join their sales team. Mr. Teddy Hayes, the owner of Mostly Musicals, brings 35 years of experience as a professional commercial writer, director and producer. His production company has achieved success and has produced plays successfully for over 30 years in Europe and the United States. In 2011, Mr. Hayes was named as a business innovator by Google News because he developed a new way of monetizing the music business. Mr. Hayes has worked with top industry professionals such as legendary producer Quincy Jones, international boxing promoter Don King, as well as having worked on projects for NBC's America's Most Wanted primetime television series. Right now, Mr. Hayes will be selecting a few highly motivated individuals to join his sales and marketing team for his production company. Chosen individuals will have the opportunity to break into an extremely difficult and lucrative entertainment industry. They will be able to work closely with Mr. Hayes and develop skills that are not only invaluable, but will also provide you with the opportunity to achieve significant wealth. Mr. Hayes is currently looking for two kinds of individuals. These could either be interested in becoming theatrical producers of their own theatre projects or just interested in earning money straight away by learning to sell a commercial investment package which contains 2 musical plays that are ready to go. Both types of people will benefit by understanding about theatrical producing and how and why it works the way that it does. We have produced a short ebook on how to become a producer, which we are making available to you for only £5. This information is essential for both people who are looking to become theatrical producers of their own projects and people really interested in selling and getting right into the thick of things by earning money selling our professional theatre projects. In this role, you will learn how professional selling is done, and we will provide you with the skills that you will be able to use for the rest of your life. Mostly Musicals is building a sales team of go-getters, a team that believes it is time to take their life and career to the next level, a team that believes that they deserve more out of life than what they have right now. There is absolutely no limit to the income you can earn. The average 9 to 5 offers you a salary, right? It dictates your hours. It's what the general population does because the average person does not think outside of the box. But theatrical production is always outside of the box thinking, which is why successful theatrical producers can earn millions. If you prove that you can be really successful, you will have the opportunity to join Mostly Musicals as one of the associate producers, and you could own a percentage of certain plays as well. What other production company is offering packages that sweet to their team members? I don't know of any. In addition, we will also pay you 10% of every investment made by the investor you bring on board. So, if you are ready to control your future and embark on an adventure where you can earn real wealth in a fascinating entertainment industry, take the first step and buy the mini course ebook, How to Become a Producer, for just £5 now. The reason is simple. The mini course will explain what a producer is and how things work, and how commercial productions and you can make money. If you ask me, the majority of people in this webinar have what it takes to be successful, or you wouldn't have joined the webinar in the first place. Ask yourself, is it worth taking the first major step for just £5? Joining this webinar isn't enough to get your foot in the door to the theatre industry. The next step is to take action. After reading the book, you have two options. If you want to further your own projects, you can consult with Mr. Hayes directly via Skype and talk about how to move them forward at a rate of £50 for half an hour. If you are interested in selling mostly musical projects, please email and we will give you a Skype interview and talk with you about joining the sales team to raise funds for professional theatrical productions and start earning money. Years ago, to have an opportunity like this, you would have had to buy an apprenticeship costing thousands of pounds. But today, you have a chance to take advantage of this opportunity for the cost of only the mini course. Either way you look at it, you can't lose. Because even if you buy the mini course and decide you do not want to continue, you would have bought a 35-year insight into the entertainment business that you would have had to take a professional course to obtain. Also, remember the mini course allows you direct access to Mr. Hayes, so there's no way you can lose. Now we will go and speak directly to Mr. Hayes and find out more about the two products in this unique webinar. So how did you become a theatre producer?
I started working in theater in the mid-70s in New York with producer Melvin Van Peebles. And that was the beginning of my learning about theater. I'd been to a lot of theater, but I didn't really know how theater worked behind the scenes. And working with Melvin Van Peebles, I was writing, I was seeing auditions, I was seeing how things worked with the theaters, I was seeing how tickets were sold, and I was getting a real education as to how the ins and outs of theater worked. So that was how I became involved in the real day-to-day behind-the-scenes level of producing.
And how difficult would you say it was to become a theatrical producer?
Well, it wasn't difficult because I had had 10 years of experience working behind the scenes, off-Broadway, on-Broadway. So when I became a producer, it was just a matter of pulling all those elements that I had learned over the years together. And the main thing I realized I had that a producer needed is I had passion. And passion is the main thing, and I had a commitment to it. And so when I decided to become a producer, it took me a long time to learn what it is I needed to do, because a lot of things I had to learn by trial and error. You can tell people you can do this or do that, but unless you've experienced it, you don't really know what it means when problems occur and you need to fix them and you don't quite have the answers. So by going through it, you know. And so that's how I became a producer, and so it was all of that that went into it. Yes.
Okay. Why are you offering this affiliation with your company now?
Well, I talk to a lot of people who would like to get into the entertainment business, into the theatrical business, but they don't have a way in. They need guidance, and they say, well, I'd like to become a producer, I'd like to become a director, I'd like to become a writer. How do I get involved? Well, there's no one answer. However, there is a way, there are various roads, but most people don't have any real person to talk to who's been through that situation. In my case, I've been through that situation. I've been on the same road for about 35 years working in theater. So I have a lot of the answers. And what I decided to do was to kind of open the doors and bring people in and teach them what they needed to know, especially because I think theater, the way it's growing now, is just going to grow more and more and more. And the more it grows, the more people we're going to need out there to be producers, to be directors, to be those people who bring stories alive on stage. And so that's why we've done it.
So you often talked about apprenticeship in producing. Can you expand a little bit on that?
Well, I was very fortunate, Helen, in that when I started in the 70s, I had Melvin Van Peebles, and he was my master, basically, in the same way that in the Victorian times, a family would actually pay a master craftsman to teach their son how to become a blacksmith or how to become an ironmonger. And in the same way, I became an apprentice with Melvin Van Peebles. I learned to write, I learned to direct, I learned to produce, and that was an apprenticeship, and it lasted, I'd say, about 4 or 5 years, and then I continued working on other projects. But when I left there, I was able to start my own company and work as a freelancer. So those years learning were really invaluable, and that is what an apprenticeship is about. It's working with someone who's had the experience to guide them through what they need to know to produce their own works. And so that's why I think apprenticeship's very important.
Yeah, I understand. How much can a person expect to make as a theatrical producer?
Nowadays, whew, never before has theater made the kind of money it's making now. For example, tickets to Broadway and West End shows are $300 to $400 sometimes. No one could have ever dreamed tickets would cost that much. And that's because people are wanting to go to see theater like never before. And I think a person interested in really, who has a passion for theater and wants to become a producer, the sky's the limit. Because they could come in doing a number of things. They could come in helping to get investors. They could come in helping to find properties. They could come in doing all kinds of things that lead to that role as a producer. And producers just can make tremendous amounts of money. And the great thing is that nobody knows what story is going to be a great success. For example, on the face of it, if someone had told you, okay, we have a story about a minor colonial founding father, and we're going to do this show, and we're going to do it in hip-hop. Well, on the face of it, it doesn't make much sense. But when you see it on stage, it's Hamilton, and it's fantastic. And so that's what a producer has to do. He has to have the vision to bring something from the page to the stage, and that's how they can make a tremendous amount of money.
Why did you set this up in a way that a person has to buy the £5 ebook before they can enter into your program?
Simple, one word: commitment. A person has to have the commitment to say, we want to go forward. If they can't spend £5, then they don't really have the commitment. And we're really not interested in working with people who aren't committed, because it's a very difficult business. But if you have the passion and the commitment, we're willing to work with you. If you don't have the passion and commitment to even spend £5, we're not willing to work with you. Simple as that.
Well, there you have it, Mr. Teddy Hayes. Thank you, Mr. Hayes.
Thank you, Helen.
So there you have it, straight from the mouth of a real and successful theatrical producer. If you want to take that next big step from just working a 9 to 5 for somebody else to creating a life in theatre that offers the possibilities of making you wealthy, please take that big step and buy our ebook now. Mr. Hayes will be available at the end of this webinar for a live discussion. Thank you for joining us here at Mostly Musicals Theatrical Productions.